Welcome to the channel and welcome to Banter in the Box episode 10, Game Week 5 review. This week we are going to be doing the league table highlights as usual. I'll be sharing a new addition to the Wall of Shame. I'll be sharing the quote of the week, and I'll also be giving you a manager of the season update. So here's the bottom of the league table. Nicholas Anelka dropped one place to the bottom of the table. In Nicola's 10 years in the Family Fantasy Football League, she has never, quite surprising actually, but never been bottom of the table before. She was the lowest scorer this week, just 4 points, and that sent her bottom of the table. And that was because Pez United climbed a place. For the first time this season, he is off the bottom. A highest weekly total from Ryan. His transfers are finally paying off. On the subject of transfers, it was a Family Fantasy Football League record this week. 10 managers made transfers in Game Week 5. That's never happened before, when 10 managers have all made a transfer in the same game week. Chairman's Choice remained 26th, continuing to struggle, and Clockhouse Rangers dropped one place to 25th. They are the current teams making up the relegation zone. Looking a little bit higher, Ostrich Bar Stewards, despite setting a highest weekly total for the season, dropped a place to 18th. And Megan Hoxley Chamberlain also registered a highest weekly total of the season to climb one place, and that's the highest position Megan has been in the Family Fantasy Football League since the 12th of December. Well done, Megan. And making up the bottom half of the table, Napoli Lee Porter climbed a place after they set a personal highest weekly total. Top half of the table, well, Benny United dropped 2 places to 13th. That's the lowest Benny's been since the 5th of December, and that was despite Benny setting a personal highest weekly total for the season. Joe Hoxby's Linden's Lovelies also set a personal highest weekly total of the season, still dropped 2 places themselves. And the reason why Joe and Mark dropped 2 places despite setting highest weekly totals of the season, partly because they made a transfer, so lost their 10 points, but also because I've Got a Life manager Mops Hoxby climbed a massive 4 places herself, setting a personal highest weekly total, and that's a season high for Mops Hoxby. Never been as high as 10th this season. And she was the joint highest climber as well, along with Pops Hoxby in 8th place, jumping 4 places. So well done, Mops and Pops. Something going right in the Hoxby home there. 7th place, Coldplay United's Martin Maloney climbed a place and set a personal highest weekly total. Martin struggled in the relegation zone throughout his debut season, but this season he is remaining a contender. Hatch United climbed 1 place to go 3rd. That's the highest Neil Hatch has been since the 9th of May 2019. Arden Diamond stayed 2nd and continue to lead the race for the Silver Boot, the highest number of assists for the season. But Grease Lightning's amazing season goes on. It's a 5th consecutive week at the top of the table for Alexi Lagos. They recorded a 4th weekly win in 5 weeks. 4 weekly wins in 5. That is unbelievable. Now a massive 50 points clear, and we're only 5 weeks into the season. Someone's going to have to do something very big to wrestle a 2nd FFL title away from Alexi, but it is very early days, certainly too early for all of us to give up just yet. So that's the league table review. Now, I said that 10 managers made transfers this week. One of them tried to make 2 transfers in the single game week, and that earned them a place on the wall of shame. So we already knew on the wall of shame, Benny United, Mark Benwell. I've got a life manager, Mops Hoxby. The Creed Bratton Society manager, Jordan Williams. Sashammers FC manager, Wayne Robinson. And the Appleys United manager, James Appley. They were already on the wall of the shame. They were joined this week by Clockhouse Rangers manager George Moody and his assistant manager Jill Moody, who tried to make 2 transfers in a single week. So they become the 6th addition to the wall of shame. Well done, great Uncle George and great Auntie Jill. Quote of the week comes from Lyndon's Lovely's manager Jo Hoxby. Now, those of you that know Jo well will know that she is something of a COVID Gestapo, very up on following all of the COVID rules and naming and shaming people who don't follow the COVID rules. But just when I thought that I was considering every possible aspect of COVID and all the worries that come with it, Jo showed me what it is to be a real COVID aficionado this week, when she expressed concern that I must admit I hadn't really thought of. And Jo's concern, remember this is about COVID, Jo's concern was for the board game Twister. This is not a gag, this is a true quote that Jo gave to me this week. She said, "I'm worried about Twister. If we're still in tier 2 at Christmas, no one is going to be able to play it. They'll go out of business." Now that isn't a joke, that is a true concern that Jo had this week about COVID, and I thought it was definitely the quote of the week and earned Jo a manager of the season point. Well done, Jo. On the subject of manager of the season points, last week's quiz question, who the fuck is that? One of the 28 FFFL managers. Few people had a go at this. Benny United manager Mark Benwell thought that was Legends 23 manager Nicky Saunders. Hatch United manager Neil Hatch thought that it was Poppy's players Sarah Simons. And Megan Hoxley Chamberlain manager Megan Hoxby thought that it was a picture of I've Got a Life manager Mops Hoxby. I can tell you none of those guesses were correct. And as a result of that, it rolls over to next week and is now worth 2 manager of the season points. So little movement in the manager of the season table. Jo Hoxby, who got a point for the quote of the week, jumps to joint 4th, but it is still Hatch United manager Neil Hatch leading the way in the race to be crowned the manager of the season. 1 point ahead of the current manager of the season, Mark Benwell, with Lee Porter back in 3rd on 5 points. That is the current manager of the season table. So remember, 2 points now on offered if you can tell me which Family Fantasy Football League manager that is. We've ruled out 3, so you now have a 1 in 25 chance of getting it right. That's it for this week. Stay COVID safe. If you can find a way to buy a box of Twister so that the company doesn't go out of business, I know Jo would really appreciate it. Until next week, bye bye.